Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Okay, we'll make a start shortly. I'll just give a few moments to see if anyone else is going to join us, but we will start shortly.
Okay.
Okay, let's make a start because it's 2 minutes past now. So this morning we're looking at writing and using different language and register suited to the audience and purpose. So it is directly related really to what we looked at yesterday in reading, which has worked out well. So by the end of this session, you must understand what persuasive writing is and should be able to use emotive language, direct address, rhetorical questions, the rule of three, hyperbole and repetition. And you could be able to use all the above on a regular basis. So, persuasive techniques. So there's several techniques that writers use to persuade the reader to their point of view, and this is across a variety of different text types. So emotive language, direct address, rhetorical questions, the rule of three, hyperbole and repetition. And those are things we have looked at before in the reading and writing sessions, but we're going to look at them in some more depth today. So in the writing assessment for level 2, you might be asked to write articles, letters, emails to argue a point or persuade the reader of your viewpoint. So knowing how to use these techniques will enable you to get the maximum marks for your writing. So emotive language. So that's the use of words deliberately in an attempt to make the reader feel a certain emotion. So if we have a look at these two sentences, I'll give you a chance to read them. Okay, so the Cheltenham Festival, which is held every March, is an event at which the racing industry parades in all its finery and receives uncritical, flattering coverage from sections of the media. In reality, it is a graveyard for horses. The high death toll and overuse of the whip make Cheltenham an event that, for many, embodies all that is unsavoury about commercial racing. So looking at those two sentences, what do you think the writer's viewpoint is? The writer who's written those sentences, what is their viewpoint about the festival? So do they think it is, do they like the festival? They think it's a good event? Or do they dislike it and they think it's a negative event? What do you think? So you can unmute yourself to share your ideas. So look at the vocabulary that has been used. What are the emotive words that have been used in these sentences, particularly looking at the second section? So where it starts, in reality, it is a graveyard for horses. What vocabulary has been used there to make us as the reader feel a particular emotion? What do you think? So would anyone like to share an idea? Okay. So.
Number 5.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay. So I'm going to underline some words. Not very well, but there we go.
Yeah, graveyard.
So the graveyard, the high death toll. Okay, so those words, so the use of those words, it's a graveyard for horses, a high death toll, unsavoury. Is this writer, do they think the Cheltenham Festival is good or bad?
Bad.
Bad, yes. So they're trying to make us think it's bad as well by using that vocabulary. So it's emotive, a graveyard for horses. So even if you are a fan of horse racing, writing the festival is a graveyard for horses is quite impactful, because it's going to make you immediately think of the horses dying, the high death toll again, the death of all those horses. So it's really trying to pull at your heartstrings to make you feel like the writer feels by the choice of vocabulary. So it's unsavoury. It's not nice. It's not a good thing at all. So it's the use of vocabulary, emotive language. Does anyone have any questions about that? Or can you see how they've used that technique to try and affect us as the reader?
Yeah, but if I'm just wanna ask, if you don't mind, can you explain them like perceptive techniques from 1 to 6? please.
Pardon?
Can you explain them one by one?
That's what we're going to be doing today.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, so that's the first one. So that's emotive language. That's the first one that we're going to be looking at. We're looking at all of the techniques, okay?
All right, that's fine.
Okay, so we've got another paragraph here to read, and I want you to, I'll read it out loud, and if you read along on your screen, and then I want you to pick out any emotive words. So which words in this paragraph are trying to impact us as the reader, try and make us think in a certain way. If you really care about animals, the best way you can help is to stop eating them. Only by rejecting animal exploitation in all its forms, farming, slaughter, vivisection, entertainment, etc., can we hope to end it. It is demand for these things that fuels the cruel industries behind them. So by ceasing to pay for the products of animal suffering, we can move closer to ending cruelty to animals. So can you pick out any words there that tell us what the reader thinks and the reader has used to try and make us think that way as well?
Farming and slaughter.
Excellent. So we've got slaughter. Any others anyone can spot? So we've got exploitation. So the animals being exploited. So that's not a positive word, that's a negative word, isn't it? Exploitation is not a good thing. Any other words that you can see that show that this person thinks, or what they think and how they are trying to affect us as the reader? What emotive words have they used to describe the industries?
Cruel industries.
Good. Cruel.
Industry.
And we've got suffering, and again, cruelty. Yeah. Okay, so can you see how that emotive language is trying to influence the reader? Okay, so by adding adjectives adding emotive adjectives to your writing, you can try and have an impact on the reader to try and make them think the same way as you do, to try and persuade them of your viewpoint. So using emotive language in your writing is one of the ways that you can try and persuade your reader. So, okay. So this just highlights the words as well. We've also got stop eating them, reject. Okay, so there's some other words there that have been put into purple that you can see as well. So there's a task here. So I don't know if you have a pen and paper handy, or possibly you can use your device that you're using for the session to just quickly, or you can just think of them in your head. So there's a task here to create your own sentences. So practicing the skill of using emotive language, because that's something you are going to be asked, or may be asked to use. Oh, sorry, in the test, you may be asked to write a persuasive piece. So knowing that you can use emotive language for persuasion is one of the skills you could use. So we're going to practice that. So the task is, you've been asked to write a leaflet for a charity that provides clean water in the developing world. So write 3 sentences 1 that makes the reader feel guilty, 2, a sentence that makes the reader feel concerned, and 3, that persuades the reader to donate money. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of minutes to have a go at that. You don't have to try all of them, but at least try one of them. Have a go. Think about how you can use those adjectives, how you can put words together to try and make the reader feel guilty about all the water that we have available, that makes you feel concerned about the lack of water in the developing world, and that persuades readers to donate money. So just have a go using emotive language. As I said, I'll give you a couple of minutes for that. Okay, has anyone had a go? Has anyone got anything they'd like to share? Don't worry about sharing. We can look at improving. We can look together at the sentences. There's no need to worry about getting it wrong as such, because that'll just be a way for us all to learn together anyway. So would anyone like to share what they have come up with? Okay, we'll have a look at the first one, and then I would really like if someone could give us an example of having a go at the second one, if possible. So, number 1, makes the reader feel guilty. No parent should be forced to give their child unsafe water. So, we've got the word forced. So, that parent is not having a choice. They've been forced. So that's emotive language that's been used. Unsafe. So the person, the parent hasn't got a choice but to give their child unsafe water. So it's very emotive. Okay. Has anyone had a go at 2 or 3? Making the reader feel concerned, or persuading the reader to donate money. Okay, it's really good practice for when you do your test to have a go at the tasks in the session. So it's a good way to practice while myself and other students can support and improve your writing. So it's a good opportunity to share what you've done. So innocent babies have
I want to try.
Okay, go on then.
Oh, I feel Josh pain because she lost her wallet.
Sorry, could you say that again?
I feel Josh pain because he lost her wallet. He lost his wallet.
Oh, right, okay, yes, yeah. So somebody's lost something, the wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So good, but we're trying to stay with the theme that we've been given here
Okay.
about. So you have
Because
written.
I joined late, so I don't know what you've been given. Okay.
Okay, don't worry.
All right.
So you have tried to use those emotive words in your sentence, which is fantastic. But just remember to try and stick to the task, because obviously in your test, which I'm sure you would do, you will need to stick to the task you've been given. So good, well done for having a go as well. I appreciate that. Innocent baby. So this is the example given for number 2. Innocent babies have already died because of water-related illnesses. Okay, so or you could write something like, young children are becoming ill because of the dirty water they are forced to drink. Okay, so you're trying to put an image into people's heads, into their imagination, so that they become concerned. So your choice of vocabulary, your choice of emotive language will lead to them being concerned. So innocent babies have died. So they've used babies rather than children, because they're trying to express the vulnerability. Okay, what's more vulnerable than a baby? Okay, and water-related illnesses, water that should be there to, to quench our thirst, to clean, it's seen as such a pure thing, but it's causing illness. So there's so many emotions just from the choice of a few words. Okay, and persuading the reader to donate money. Every drop saves lives, and we can't do this without your help. So every drop, so it's making it really simple. It saves lives, and your help. So it's using, it's appealing directly to you as the reader. And it's not, the charity can't do this without the help of supporters, which is quite impersonal. It's appealing to you. Okay. Are there any questions about that? So direct address. So we're moving on to the next persuasive technique. And we've just actually seen an example of that in the last sentence, the use of we and your. Using you or we in persuasive text serves 3 purposes: building a relationship with the reader, making them feel involved and important, and it makes it difficult for the reader to dismiss the text. So appealing directly to your reader is difficult for them to just ignore it, just put it down and forget about it. So there's some sentences here, and they are shown as impersonal, and then the language is changed to make them a direct address. So the first one, everyone is concerned about pollution. But then with direct address, we are all concerned about pollution. So everyone has been changed to we. So it's quite a simple technique, but it can be really, really impactful. So the next one, impersonal, sun exposure can cause skin damage. But changing that to direct address, it changes the impact. It makes it more persuasive. Sun exposure can damage your skin. So it's not just general, it's making it personal. So I want you to have a go at doing this now. So changing these impersonal sentences into ones that use direct address. So the first one, everyone needs to listen. How could we make that personal? How could we make it a direct address? So we need to change the word everyone to what?
Can you say, like, you need to listen?
Excellent. That's exactly right. So it is quite simple, but it does have a big impact. Thank you. So you need to listen. Good. The next one. A visit to the castle will be interesting. So how could we change that? So you'll find a visit to the castle interesting. So it's not just for anybody, it's for you. You will find the visit interesting. Every visitor is welcome. So instead of every visitor, what could we change that to? So who is welcome? We want direct address. Who is welcome?
You visitor welcome. You visitor are welcome.
You are welcome. Good.
Welcome.
Get it. There we go. You are welcome. Not just everybody, but you particularly. It is encouraged to give blood. So instead of it is, what could we change that to?
You are encouraged to give blood.
Good. Yeah, good. You are. So you are encouraged to give blood. Or this is slightly different, but it's the same meaning. We encourage you to give blood. Okay, so either of those would be direct address. Well done, thank you. So moving on to rhetorical questions, and we have looked at these previously, but we're going to look at them in a bit more detail. So rhetorical questions are questions that don't require an answer, but they grab attention and make people think about something. And they're used often in speech as well as in writing. So here's some examples. How would you feel if you had no choice but to make your child drink unsafe water? So this could be going back to that leaflet that we looked at a few minutes ago, possibly for a charity who provide clean water. So they don't want you to write to them or email them and answer that question. They're asking the question to make you think. So it doesn't require an answer, it's rhetorical. So have a look at those questions in the table. Which of them are rhetorical? So I'll read through them all to give you a chance to have a think, and then we'll look at each one individually. How long will the meeting last? How would you feel if your street was full of rubbish? How should I know? Is it a bank holiday tomorrow? There is no point, is there? So which are actually asking a question that requires an answer, and which of those are rhetorical? They're just trying to make someone think and they don't need an answer. So how long will the meeting last? Do you think that is rhetorical, or do you think that needs an answer?
Need an answer.
Excellent, yeah, it needs an answer. Okay. How would you feel if your street was full of rubbish? So you could imagine this in a magazine article, in a leaflet from the local council. What do you think? Does it need an answer, or is it rhetorical?
Rhetorical.
Rhetorical.
Yeah, it's just trying to make you think, put yourself in someone else's position. How should I know? Does it need an answer?
Yes, it needs an answer.
Does everyone agree, or do you think it's rhetorical?
It's historical.
Yes,
How
it's the sort of thing people might say if they're a bit annoyed. Someone's asked someone a question. How should I know? They don't want someone to explain, well, actually, you should know because you went to that meeting 3 days ago and I expect you to come and tell me. It's unlikely they want the person asking the question wants that kind of answer. It's rhetorical. They're showing that they're not happy by being asked the question. So, is it a bank holiday tomorrow? Does that need an answer?
Yes, need
Yes.
an answer.
Yeah, so we want an answer to that. And there's no point, is there? Rhetorical or needs an answer?
historical?
Rhetorical, good. Okay. So you're not rewording these, you need to read the sentence, the explanation, it's a situation, and think of a rhetorical question that you could ask in that situation. So imagine for the first one, you're writing a leaflet for the local council to encourage residents to recycle. What rhetorical question could you ask in your leaflet? When you're writing your leaflet, what rhetorical question could you use for that situation? Does anyone want to have a go?
Using recycle option.
Pardon?
The residents are not using the recycling option available.
So that's the situation, but we want a rhetorical question to get the residents' attention so that they read, for example, a leaflet about recycling. So let's look at the answer to this one to give you an idea of what you're being asked to do. So in that situation of residents not recycling, you're writing, so this is a task that you could get asked to do in your test. So write a leaflet to encourage residents to recycle. So you could start by writing a rhetorical question such as this: do you want our planet to survive? Or it could be something different like, do you know that the local council provides 7 different sites where you can recycle your rubbish? Do you know that you have 3 bins you can use to recycle? Okay. So for the next one, pedestrians aren't crossing the road safely. So you've got to write a leaflet about road safety. What rhetorical question could you ask? Imagine it's your first sentence, you're starting with a question because that gives a big impact. To start with a question, you're engaging the reader straight away because they read the question, they're going to try and think of an answer in their own head. So what could a question be? A rhetorical question.
Do you know the council have provided a safety measures for crossing the road?
Excellent, yeah. That's a really good example. Let's look at the one given, and then if anyone else wants to think of another one. Oh, this one's quite it sounds quite sarcastic actually. Are you trying to hurt yourselves? So this doesn't sound like something that would be in a professionally written leaflet. Perhaps it might be something someone would say to someone who is not crossing the road safely. Okay, did you know there is a pedestrian crossing on Lever Street? So it might be, you know, letting people know where there is a crossing they can cross it. Did you know that 23 people are injured crossing the road every year on this estate. Okay, so did you know, and then giving some information is a good way to write a rhetorical question. So if you're not sure of how to get a rhetorical question into your task that you've been given, using some information but turning it into a question is a good way to do that. So use some information you've been given, but ask it as part of a question. Did you know that 3 people died on local roads last year? So that's a way you could use this technique if you're not sure how else to do it. So a child's bedroom is always untidy. So imagine if you've got children, your child's bedroom's untidy, or what your parents might have said to you if you were untidy as a child. What's the sort of thing parents might say? So let's look at the example and see if anyone can come up with another one. So do you like living in a pigsty? So obviously it's not a pigsty. So we've used some hyperbole there, which we're going to look at in a moment. And it's also rhetorical. So the last one, someone at work has made a mistake. Did you think about what you were doing? So again, that rhetorical question is being asked in quite a sarcastic way. Okay. So the rule of 3. This is a technique of repetition. 3 words or points are made right after each other. So sometimes it's repetition, sometimes it's just connected. So this is an old advertising slogan for Mars bars, and it was used for many years because presumably the research done by the advertising company showed the impact of it. So they used this repetition. A Mars a day helps you work, rest and play. So the 3 words or points give a nice rhythm to the sentence. So that's why it's used. People remember it easily or more easily because of that, the rhythm it gives, the 3 points. Stop, look and listen. So again, that's a very well used road safety message. So it's succinct, it's short, it's simple. The repetition, not repetition, the 3 points made right after each other make it easy to remember. Stop, look, listen. Blood, sweat and tears. Friends, Romans, countrymen. So I think that last one is from Shakespeare, but it is something I remember and I recognise as some words from a play because it's that rule of 3 makes it easy to remember. So again, we've got the same situations, but this time we're thinking of a statement. So if you imagine again for the first one, residents aren't using the recycling options available. What's a slogan we could come up with, or a sentence using that rule of 3? So it might be one that already exists. There's a one that's used all the time that you hear on TV when you're reading, of a simple slogan that's used to encourage recycling. Does anyone want to have a go? I'll show you this one. Reduce, reuse and recycle. So it's probably something you've heard. It's really simple, but the simplicity of it is where the impact lies because it's easy to remember. Okay, and the rhythm of it, when you reading it, reduce, reuse, recycle. It sounds good as well. It sounds good to the reader. Okay, pedestrians aren't crossing the road safely. So the rule of 3, stop, look, listen. Okay. Child's bedroom is always untidy. Clean it, bin it, put it away. Okay, so it might be something that people might come up with to repeat to their child rather than having an argument with them, going into the reasons why they should keep their room tidy. They might just come up with a few words that they just say to them when they need to tidy their room. And someone at work has made a mistake. So the person's trying to help them not to do the same thing again. Ask, check, and check again. Okay, so it's easy for the person who's made the mistake. That's easy for them to remember. Next time they come across something they're not sure about, they can quickly remember that because it's simple. That rule of 3, it's the simplicity of it that makes it a good technique to use. So we're moving on to hyperbole, which is exaggeration. So it's a technique where exaggeration is used to create strong effect. So the meaning of the word is hyper, meaning over, and bole, meaning throw. So it's overthrowing something, taking it a little too far. So it's even more than just exaggeration. So we've got some examples here of hyperbole or over-exaggeration being used. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to move to Mars. So what does this person actually mean? They're obviously not going to move to Mars. They're using hyperbole. What does it mean? What are they trying to say?
Just trying to give a caution.
Yeah, so that they're asking someone not to keep repeating themselves, aren't they? So thinking about the one about tidying the bedroom, it's the sort of thing perhaps a parent might say to a child if they keep moaning or they keep repeating the same question, can I have this, can I have this? If I hear that one more time, I'm going to move to Mars. So the writer is fed up at hearing something time and time again. Well done. So I'd rather kiss a toad than miss my dance class. So how does the writer of this sentence feel about their dance class?
Very important.
Excellent, yeah, it's really important. It's so important that they'd never miss it. They'd rather do something as disgusting as kissing a toad than miss their dance class. Okay. So the writer really enjoys going to dance class. It's really important to them. She has 1 million pairs of shoes. Obviously, nobody has 1 million pairs of shoes, but how many shoes does this person have, do you think? Instead of writing 1 million, what could we write instead?
A lot.
As many shoes.
A lot. Good. She's got many, many shoes, a lot of shoes. Oh, sorry. I'm dying of shame. So if someone says, oh, I'm dying of shame, what does that mean? How are they feeling?
Feel bad.
They feel bad, they feel embarrassed, don't they? Okay, they're feeling very shameful. So to say they're dying of shame, it's just using hyperbole or exaggeration to express how very, very shameful they feel. So what do these sentences mean? Everyone knows that. So we can't question everyone in the world of whether they know a certain fact. It's unlikely everybody knows it, but they've said everyone. What do they mean?
they mean that you're supposed to know because everyone know about it.
Good. Yeah, so they're saying that it's good, exactly. It's common knowledge that most people know that, so why don't you know it? Everybody knows that. Good. I have been to that restaurant 1,000,000 times. So again, that's often one that is used as hyperbole, saying that something's been done 1,000,000 times. What could we use instead of 1,000,000, or what is this person trying to say?
That he has been there many times.
Good. So it's just many, isn't it? But they've used 1,000,000 to express that. Tim was dying to start his new job. So instead of dying to start his new job, what could we say? How's he feeling about his new job?
Excited.
Can't wait to get a new job.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, he's excited. He can't wait. He's looking forward to it. The day dragged on like an eternity. So instead of eternity,
Every time. We did
Forever.
Forever.
every time.
a long time,
A
good.
long
Forever.
time.
Again, forever would be hyperbole as well, because it isn't literally lasting forever. It felt like a long day. Well done. It felt really long. Good. So we're moving on to repetition, which is a technique where words are repeated to stick in the reader's memory. So it's often used in speeches, and there's some famous ones here. So Winston Churchill, famous speech about the war. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight on the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. So that repetition of we shall fight has a big impact on that speech. And also then he finishes by starting with we shall, but he changes it to we shall never surrender. And Martin Luther King's famous speech, I have a dream, that phrase, I have a dream, in his speech is repeated 8 times in his speech. And there's other phrases that are also repeated, such as let freedom ring and now is the time. So that repetition lets the reader know how strongly the writer feels about it, and it's also, it reinforces the writer's point. So repetition is a good technique for reinforcing your point, which in turn you are doing that because you want to persuade the reader of how valid your point is, and you want them to agree with it. You're trying to persuade them. So we'll just do this together. So have write a sentence that uses repetition for the following. So, excuse me, an article supporting the development of a new leisure centre. So let's have a look at the first one. So healthy people make healthy choices. So what's the repetition in that sentence?
Healthy.
Good. So it can be a single word that's repeated. It could be a group of words or a phrase. And in this one, it was just that word healthy. So the next one is a letter arguing against the closure of a library. We need books for leisure, books for learning, and books for reference. So what's the repetition in this sentence?
Book.
Books. So books for. So good. So it's the closure of a library. So it's just books, books, books. They're just repeating the importance of books, and that has the impact. So the last one, an email persuading a friend to join you in a charity challenge. I promise you it will be fun, fun, fun. So obviously the repetition there is the word fun.
Fun.
Yeah. Good. So just repeating the words sometimes is all you need to do. But as we can see, sometimes it's the same word repeated within a sentence, sometimes just repeated after each other, and sometimes it's more of a phrase that is repeated. Okay, so what is the rule of 3? Is it excessive exaggeration, a question that doesn't need an answer, language to elicit an emotional response, or putting words or phrases together to make them stand out? So it's not expressed in the best way actually here, but it's actually D.
Putting words.
So yeah, good. So it's when we look at the rule of 3, so it's putting those phrases together to make them stand out, to add emphasis. Okay. So why are rhetorical questions used? To grab attention or make the reader think, to make the reader feel a particular emotion, to make the reader feel they are involved, or to find out what the reader already knows. So why do writers use rhetorical questions?
To grab attention and make the
Excellent. Good. So it's the first answer, A. To grab attention, to make the reader think. So which of these is an example of hyperbole, which remember means over-exaggeration? Don't you agree? It's all about cuts, cuts, cuts. My feet are killing me. The unruly mob terrified the onlookers.
See, my feet are killing me.
Excellent. My feet are killing me. So it's over-exaggeration. It's not really true, but it expresses how much the person's feet are hurting. So emotive language deliberately tries to make the reader question themselves, feel directly involved, realise why something is important, or feel a certain way. So remember, we're talking about persuasive techniques today. So why do we use emotive language when we're writing? Because we want to make the reader
Feel directly involved.
It can be to make them feel directly involved. I think there's probably 2 right answers here. And also, we want to make them feel
certain way.
a certain way. Good. So we want to make them feel guilty. We want to make them feel upset, possibly, so that they'll donate money. We want to make them feel angry, so they'll support a cause. But by doing that, we do make them feel directly involved.
Yeah.
But also, that feeling directly involved would be using the direct address, so using you and we.
Okay.
But yes, definitely, it does do both things. Okay, so we've covered, so we should all understand now what persuasive writing is. We're trying to get someone to understand and agree with our opinion. And we do this by using emotive language, direct address, rhetorical questions, the rule of 3, hyperbole, and repetition. And you might be able to use all of those together in your writing to make your writing persuasive. Does anyone have any questions? So for each session, as I've told you previously, but for anyone who is new, there are, if you log into Moodle, which is the online learning for UK Versity, if you don't have a login or you're struggling, you need to contact the office and they should be able to help you with that. But if you log in, then there are questions and answers for every reading and every writing session, so that you can practice the skills that we have been looking at together. So I always say, just download the questions first, have a go, think about what we've done in the session together, and then have a look at the answers. So you'll be able to see if you got things correct, but you'll also be able to use the answers to help you with any questions that you weren't sure about. Okay, and the other thing is just to read lots of different types of writing and look for these techniques that have been used. So if you read some news, if you read a news article today, or if you go and search out some advertising or leaflets that you might get through your door, have a look, how have they used emotive language, direct address, and all those other skills? How have they used those in the writing? Try and pick them out, because being able to recognise them will help you to use them in your own writing. So just everything you read, think about what we've done each week, and can you spot it in the writing? Can you spot those techniques? Because as I say, that's what's going to help you to use it yourself. Okay, well, thank you for your contributions today, and I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Adi. And although I find it a bit difficult.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so did you say you found it a bit difficult?
Yes, because when I was struggling to enter through my laptop, I couldn't meet up. I need some time, Then I use my phone.
Oh, right, okay.
Because when I log in on the laptop, then I can see it clear, but on the phone I will be struggling.
Yeah,
so
it's tricky, isn't it, to see it on there?
So
Yeah.
because of
So
that,
I'm not sure if you
I
can
lost out
see.
in certain
I'm not
things.
sure if you're able to look at the slides on Moodle, but if not, you could possibly contact the office and ask them, just explain that you were struggling with your technology today, and see if they can possibly give you the slides for this week, so that you can just have a look through them again. If you were finding them tricky to see, maybe they'd be able to do that. I'm not sure, but if you call and ask them or email them.
Maureen,
And maybe
if
they can give you the slide.
Can somebody be in the office today?
Not today, but you could send them an email today, and that someone should reply tomorrow, or ring them tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.